and then I will turn it over to Sister Maureen to start everything on Mission Monday today.
Good evening and welcome to Mission Monday. I'm Sister Maureen O'Brien, a Sister of Charity of Seton Hill, and I currently serve the Seton Hill community as the Vice President for Mission and Identity. It's a pleasure to have all of you with us this evening, and we look forward to seeing you in person when you arrive to begin this new adventure in your life. Seton Hill is a mission-driven institution. From the days of its foundation, the spirit of St. Elizabeth Seton and its founders, the Sisters of Charity of Seton Hill, had been its guiding force through times of challenge and celebration. Please join us as we view our centennial video presentation, which demonstrates the mission and action of Seton Hill throughout these 102 years.
100 years. When you reach a milestone, it's only natural to look back, to see where you came from and how you've changed. There's a certain comfort in the past. But when we look back at the last century, we're not reminded of what's come before. We're reminded to look forward. From the moment the Sisters of Charity set foot on 200 rolling acres of farmland in Greensburg, they have been focused on the future. These women were immigrants and daughters of immigrants from steel cities, railroad towns, and coal mining villages who found opportunity in spite of obstacles. They saw a society that was quickly changing and embraced it with strength, courage, and forethought. They took those acres and turned them into a place that transforms lives. The sisters found adversity and challenges at every turn, but they also found ways up, over, and around them to build a world-class institution. And when it came time to pick a name for this institution, they found inspiration in Elizabeth Ann Seton and her wish for her students to fit you for that world in which you are destined to live. Not preparing students for the challenges of today, but for the world of tomorrow. That focus on the future is evident throughout our history. From the saplings planted along Seton Hill Drive that have grown into a towering canopy of trees, to becoming a champion of the latest technology, we have remained headed in one direction. What began with the sisters has been sustained and fostered by lay leaders, educators, community members, students, alumni, and friends. The provocative, the innovative, the challengers of the status quo have kept the dream alive and advanced the pioneering spirit of the founders. They have made sure we live up to our motto, hazard yet forward. And together, we continue to innovate by ushering in new ways to learn, by examining and responding to the world around us. Welcoming change, we remain deeply rooted in our identity as a liberal arts university in the Catholic Setonian tradition. The last 100 years have brought us challenges and innovation, visits from world leaders, and the chance to teach the next generation of leaders. We don't know what the next century holds, but we do know that by looking to the future, our students will be fit for the world in which they will live. And we will continue to prepare them with enthusiasm, with care, with forethought, and courage. Seton Hill, 100 years forward.
That mission challenges all of us, faculty, staff, administration, and alumni, to, in the words of St. Elizabeth Ann Seton, transform that world in which we are destined to live. As I said at Welcome before the weekend, transformation can be a glorious and challenging adventure. But as Setonians, it's what we're all about. The 4 pillars of our mission and identity, welcoming, learning, celebrating, and serving, help each of us to live that mission to transform the world. The pillar that you've already experienced is the pillar of welcoming. I hope you felt that sense of welcome when you visited our beautiful campus that you will now call home. That spirit of a welcoming community is the air we breathe at Seton Hill. We will welcome you in new and somewhat different ways due to the pandemic, which is so much a part of our lives these days. But be assured, you are welcome. As our brochure so well describes, Seton Hill University is committed to being an inclusive, welcoming community, celebrating the diversity of its members in both faith and culture. Those are not just words on the page of a brochure. They are intentional. They are manifestations of the spirit and the commitment of each member of our community. The vocation of the Office of Mission and Identity supports and articulates our mission. You will come to know each member of our staff, which includes Father Roger Statnick, University Chaplain, Marissa Haynes, Director of Service Experience, and our newest member, Tony Krasmarsik, the Director of Campus Ministry. Each one will introduce you to the remaining pillars of our mission and identity and the ways in which you are called to live the mission of Seton Hill. I leave you with the words of St. Elizabeth Seton, our model, as we welcome you to Seton Hill. The front door, the back door, the side door that leads to the chapel, all the windows upstairs and downstairs, open at your coming. Welcome, Setonians. And now, Tony Krasmarsik will share the pillar of learning.
Hello, and good evening. It is my pleasure to be joining you today. As a new member on staff, I'm in the same boat that you are, first-year students. I'm very excited to get to know you as we get to know Seton Hill together. Learning. This is why you are here. You have chosen to come to Seton Hill to learn and grow and educate yourself. Now, you could go to college anywhere and receive a good education. But here at Seton Hill, we believe that we can offer you a great education because of our long-standing tradition. That is, our connection with the past and our approach to educate you for the future. The Catholic intellectual tradition can be defined by 2 aspects. First, as a collection of treasures or body of knowledge to be cherished, studied, and handed on. Second, a way of doing things that is the outcome of centuries of experience, prayer, action, and critical reflection. The treasures include certain classic texts, art and architecture, music, as well as developments in science and technology. The other aspect is the way we have learned to deal with experience and knowledge in order to acquire true wisdom, live well, and build good societies. Fundamental to this process is the understanding that faith and reason do not conflict. Rather, faith and reason work together to enrich our understanding of what is true, what is good, and what is beautiful. Here at Seton Hill, We believe that all fields of study illuminate the goodness, truth, and beauty embodied in our world, that this embodiment requires a learning community based upon mutual respect and dialogue, and that ultimately these expressions are celebrated in the way we live our lives. As St. Elizabeth Ann Seton put it, I would wish to fit you for the world in which you are destined to live. Elizabeth Seton is, of course, the namesake for our school, and her spirit continues to guide the way we approach education. She was a woman dedicated to the education of the whole person. Her goal was to create a learning environment where each student felt respected and valued, and where each student's potential flourished. Lunch with Liz is a program that we have started to celebrate the life and history of Elizabeth Seton. This annual program enables our community to become familiar with her life and aware of how her vision continues to direct and enliven the Sisters of Charity and Seton Hill University. At Seton Hill, we cultivate a spirit of dialogue with the past, engage the issues of our time, and imagine what the future could be. In our dedication to dialogue, we host coffee talks about current events and topics important to students. We invite experts in their fields from campus and the community to guide us in conversations that matter. We recently had the privilege to host the Most Reverend Edward C. Malesic, 5th Bishop of Greensburg, now former bishop as it were, who led us in a conversation about the Year of Mercy and how mercy can be a part of the daily life of every person. In our mission statement, we commit ourselves to educate students to think and act critically, creatively, and ethically. Critically, that is, to see the world and its problems from different angles and diverse perspectives. This is the definition of liberal arts education. Creatively, that is to find new and innovative ways to solve problems and create technologies that improve life for everyone. Education inspires us to serve one another. Ethically, that is to always remember that the truth matters, doing what is right makes a difference, and pursuing the common good is paramount. In this pursuit, we draw upon the Catholic heritage gathered together in what is called Catholic social teaching. As a matter of fact, these principles are embedded into every class at Seton Hill. The Church's social teaching is a wealth of wisdom about how to build a just society and how to live lives of holiness amidst the challenges of modern society. These are articulated through a tradition of church documents and center around 7 principal themes. The first teaching is the belief that all human life is sacred and that the dignity of the human person is the foundation of a moral vision for society. This is the foundation for all the Church's social teachings. This is the foundation. It means that every life matters and every life should always be protected and preserved, especially those who are most vulnerable and marginalized. Both the Catholic intellectual tradition and Catholic social teaching provide the framework through which learning takes place inside and outside the classroom, whether it be through internships, student teaching, service, or that late night conversation with roommates about the meaning of life. Seton Hill combines the discipline of the liberal arts with professional preparation for careers. But at Seton Hill, we don't just prepare you for careers. As our mission statement attests, we seek to empower you to become a productive member of society committed to transforming the world. In short, we empower you to find your true calling. As Frederick Buechner famously said, the place God calls you to is the place where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet. We invite you to consider what you're passionate about, but also what the world needs from you. In this endeavor, we use Michael Heim's 3 questions. What brings you joy? That is, what are your values? Where are your passions? What interests you? What are you good at? That is, what are your gifts and talents? Where do your strengths lie? What does the world need? What issues stir your conscience? What causes have captured your attention? Where do you feel called to take action and serve the common good? But there is an important 4th question, which I'm sure parents will appreciate. Who will pay you to do it? All of these questions are critical as we support and challenge students to find the place where they are called to transform the world, or as St. Elizabeth Ann Seton put it, to fit you for the world in which you're destined to live. We prepare you for your future and the future of the world. Learning is the 2nd pillar of our mission. but amidst our learning, we are called to celebrate life and live it to the fullest. Father Statnick will now introduce us to the third pillar of our mission.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for taking time out of your evening to be with us tonight and to hear about the mission of Seton Hill. We celebrate many things in many ways in our lives. Sometimes, some things are major milestones like births and deaths, weddings and graduations. Others are more markers along the way, the end of a semester, a promotion at work, a reunion with an old friend. And we celebrate in different ways. Sometimes there are major galas involving hundreds of people and months of planning with special foods, decorations, and protocols. But at other celebrations, the mood is more subdued. A few close friends or family reminiscing over comfort food, dressed in jeans and sweatshirts. Nevertheless, whether large or small, elaborate or simple, boisterous or subdued, frivolous or solemn, we need to celebrate. And Seton Hill understands why. When we celebrate, we express who we are and we enrich that identity in the process. We strengthen our bonds with each other, our shared history, and our deep heritage. We do this through ceremonies and rituals that touch our hearts and lift our spirits so that we can recommit ourselves to the vision of life in God's kingdom and resolve to dedicate our efforts to making this vision real in our world today. So we celebrate large at Seton Hill with the beginning of the academic year, homecoming when alumni and friends return to campus, Christmas on the Hill when we all capture a little of the magic of Christ's birth, Kristallnacht, recalling the dark side of humanity when evil and sin bring hatred and destruction into our differences. And finally, the big celebration of graduation, when we put it all together in a ceremony mixed with heritage, personal memories, and strong hope for the future. And we also celebrate small at Seton Hill with ice cream socials, contemporary worship, meetings of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, or a Friday night wings fest at a local eatery. It's all part of life at Seton Hill University. We celebrate life in this way because we believe it is not our own, but it was given to us by a mysterious power and presence greater than any one of us and all of us together. Life is God's gift. Elizabeth Seton knew this axiom personally and confidently, and it led her to begin her enterprise of education for transformative service. She kept returning to this truth for strength and guidance as she faced the challenges of making her dreams reality. Mother Seton anchored her life in the celebration of the Eucharist, where we believe that the power and presence of God touches each of us intimately, yet all of us together. We begin the academic year with this central act of Christian worship, and we end it the same way. Along the way, we join our lives with God throughout the academic calendar through the celebration of Sunday Eucharist. Please come. Celebrating will be different this year. The pandemic has altered all of our lives in so many ways. Wearing masks and social distancing seem to put a pall on every attempt to gather. Still, although our celebrations will bear the marks of this scourge on all humanity, celebrate we must. Although the fall semester will end before Christmas on the Hill can happen, it can still mark the wonder and beauty of our lives as we celebrate Thanksgiving, the very meaning of the word Eucharist. Although we may gather virtually rather than in person more often this year, we are still connected by a spirit that is holy and exciting no matter what the medium. Celebrating the third pillar of the Seton Hill mission. It's the way we renew ourselves by giving expression to who we are, what we stand for, with whom we stand, and why we do what we do. Celebrate something in some way each day of your Seton Hill education, and uncover for yourself what Elizabeth Ann Seton discovered in her daily routine as wife, mother, religious woman, groundbreaking founder of a community set on doing God's work in the world. She wrote, "Praise the Lord, O my soul. Praise him that the blessed impulse and grace may rebound to your own happiness and glory. For to him your praise can add nothing. To yourself it is now the means of grace and comfort, and hereafter will be your pleasure and joy through eternity." When we celebrate, we praise God in big and small ways for the gifts our lives are. And this lifts us to understand what we have all been given. Now I would like to introduce Marissa Haynes, who will speak to you about the fourth pillar of Seton Hill's mission, service.
Good evening. I'm so glad to be here. As Father Statnick mentioned, my name is Marissa Haynes, and I'm the Director of Service Experience here at Seton Hill. Thanks for taking time out of your evening to be with us tonight. So as you know, Seton Hill has a rich history of service and charity. Elizabeth Ann Seton, the founder of the Sisters of Charity, made so many sacrifices and committed herself to serving her local and international community. And that theme of giving continues here at Seton Hill and has over the past 100 years and will continue with you. So what I'd like for you all to do right now is in the chat box, if you could, write how you volunteered or served your community in the past. So I'll look forward to seeing some of those. A food bank, great. Anyone else want to share how they've volunteered or served the community? A hospital, great, awesome. Cleaning softball fields, youth ministry, feeding the homeless and food drives, volunteering at nursing home, Connellsville flood. That's a great way to help with the community. Wonderful. Well, thank you. Through the Appalachian Service Project, ASP, that's fantastic. Leading small groups and mission building trips, maybe like Habitat for Humanity, great. Volunteering at the food kitchen, Veterans for Foreign Wars, that's wonderful. All right, these are great. We'll come back to those in a second. Oh, and I see a few more coming in. Unload trucks for the Manna Food Center, wonderful. Gardening, mission trip to West Virginia, coached youth community soccer, fantastic. Thank you for sharing all these. So during this time, I want to explain to you some of the opportunities that we offer and support, and some of them sound pretty familiar, so you might even be used to some of these, and so you'll find a perfect place to fit here, Service on the Hill. So the first type of service that we participate in is called direct service. That's service where you are face-to-face with the community. Just like in this photo here, it's students volunteering directly with the youth at our local YMCA. So some ways that we do that is through recurring service opportunities. That might be helping with community food pantry down the street, the Salvation Army Children's Ministry, or some of our other food pantries in the area. We also have campus-wide days of service. Now these might look a little different this year. However, it'll still be gathering faculty, students, trustees, and alumni together to volunteer all on one day. It's really, really special. And the first one is in September. You'll learn all about it when you get here. Another one is called Service Saturdays. These are one Saturday during the month where we go and focus on a special initiative. So and sometimes we've gone to the local animal shelter, helping at Animal Friends of Westmoreland, or we've helped at the recycling center. So it's just a way for us to get to know a particular topic a little bit more in depth. Another way that we do service is through indirect service. This might be participating in service where you don't see the person or community that you're helping directly, but you're helping on the back end. Right here is a photo of some of our students helping at the Habitat for Humanity warehouse. It's one of our students' favorite places to help out and will still be available here when you come in the fall. Some other opportunities for indirect service are our Operation Christmas Basket. This is a basket raffle opportunity we do during the holidays that all the proceeds benefit the Westmoreland County Food Bank and the Blackburn Center. We also offer virtual service opportunities, which are extra special during this time of COVID. We also participate in make to donate opportunities. So that might be making dog treats or making blankets for those who need some. Another way that we help and work are, I'm giggling because you might be hearing my daughter in the background, and I apologize. She misses me. We're gonna have dinner soon. Another way that we help is through advocacy and activism. So a photo right here is some of our students helping with the Red Sand Project with the Blackburn Center. This was an opportunity to bring awareness to human trafficking. We also help through talking about food insecurity for the hunger banquet, in addition to voter engagement, and that's gonna be really important as we climb and enter into an election year. The last area that we all help at is with curricular support. So if you all can use just raise your hand. If you have connections on your class schedule, raise your hand. I see lots of hands in the air. Many of you should have it. So part of the connections experience is having oh, Kaylee, nice. I'm glad you raised your hand virtually. I love it. So part of the connections experience is having 3 hours of service experience. And that can look very different, just like in direct, indirect, or advocacy. So you'll learn more about this during your connections experience. But that's one way that service integrates its way into the curriculum. So you've seen a lot of what we can do. Over the last 3 years at Seton Hill, we've clocked over 20,000 hours of service to our community, both nationally, globally, and locally. It's pretty fantastic if I do say so myself. However, I always think we can do better. We're always striving for greatness here at Seton Hill. So we might be a small university, but we sure are mighty. So now I'd like you to write in the chat what you're most excited about service. If you just want to write a few things. Let's see.
Marissa, I was wondering if while we're waiting for some people to type in their responses about what they're excited about for service, we did have a question about, do students have to perform mandatory service hours? So if you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so unlike high school, we do not have a graduation requirement for service. And that's really important for us at Seton Hill because we want it to be a really altruistic motive. We just want you to be doing it because you feel that it is part of the mission and part of why you're here. So that's really important for us. So we don't have a graduation requirement, but there might be some classes and courses that do ask you to participate in a certain amount of service or service hours. I hope that answers your question. So some of the ones that I'm seeing that people are very excited about, doing something different, seeing people smile, helping the community in any way that you can, making a difference, making people smile, especially children. I love it. My daughter clearly would love that. Helping people make friends along the way, getting to know others while helping out. Serving the Lord and getting closer to the community. That's beautiful and absolutely will be happening here. And now I'm going to turn it over to a student who is doing that in every which way. Layla Ayala is actively transforming the world around her, and she is a sophomore here at Seton Hill who's an active student member of the Mission and Identity Committee. So I'm going to stop sharing our presentation so you can see her on the big screen, and I will turn it over to her now.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Marissa. We've been talking about all the pillars of our mission and identity, and although I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about my experience and how I embody those every day, and every Seton Hill student does that at the community, I want to point out that you're already exemplifying our mission and identity in some ways by being here today, and I applaud you for that. Getting involved, getting information, it's what we are, Setonians are about. When we talk about welcoming, as we have mentioned already, it's very simple. Just welcome everybody, make them feel at home the same way that they have made you feel at home. When I went to campus, I actually, my first during my orientation, it was wonderful. I was so nervous. I'm a non-traditional student, so I had all this little voices in my head and uncertainties that were bothering me. And the minute that I stepped on campus, I realized that this was home. Everyone smiled at me. I asked a question and like 3 people would rush and like answer it right away. I would ask people about places or where locations were, and they wouldn't even like just tell me, they would guide me there. And it made me feel like I was part of the community already, and it was just orientation day. A different way that I've always felt that welcoming pillar is important is inviting others to events that you're interested in. So I'm Catholic. I was raised Catholic since I was little, and it's very important to me. But not everybody that you'll meet in Seton Hill will be Catholic. Some of you may not. You may be other religions. You may have no religion at all, and that's completely okay because we welcome you all. And it's exciting to see how we can come together. And it's important that you understand that you are welcome for who you are with all that entitles. So like if you're interested in an event, and even if you feel a little bit out of sorts, just invite one of your friends with you, and that way you feel welcome and you're welcoming them as well in your environment. Learning, of course, you're in college, so you're gonna learn a lot about everything. Something that always marked me was how easy it was to learn, not only, of course, in your classes. We offer so many tools within the school, tutoring, group, study groups, all of that, but also how to connect with the school itself. There's so many ways that you could connect with knowing more about Seton Hill. Connections class will definitely give you a lot of that, and it'll be interesting, it'll be fun. I know that some of the classes, they're only 15 minutes, but they give you so much information that you'll be able to learn about it. Something that I loved during my first year at Seton Hill was that we started doing something called Catholicism 101. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, so everything that I learned in the Catholic religion was in Spanish. So when I moved up here, I had no idea how to even like just greet the Father in English. So Sister Mo say yes to the idea, and we started doing Catholicism 101, and after Mass every Sunday, we had an hour of full-on discussion depending on what the students were wondering about. And we had a very down-to-earth, comfortable conversation where if you had questions about the religion, even if it's not your religion, or like myself, it was a little bit intimidating because I'm supposed to know all this, but it's in a different language. It was really nice to feel welcome and learn so much with that. Moving on to our celebrating pillar, you see celebration everywhere on campus, where it's about your grades, your professors, they celebrate every little thing. Something that I love is that not only did I have the chance to celebrate Mass every Sunday, but also we had the opportunity to have Mass, daily Mass. So a few days a week, we used to have them at noon or at night. And it was for me, it was a good time to connect with God, but also leave all my worries aside and take it as a time of reflection. And it's such a small amount of time. It was like 25 minutes during Mondays and Wednesdays, and it gave me so much. And it was celebrating God and celebrating our community, and it was really wonderful. As we mentioned already, our coffee talks and our socials, ice cream socials, they're so much fun. They were really great for celebrating, but I will also add them to learning, because you learn so much about the school. You learn so much about our mission, what's going on during the week, what's going on during the month. It's a great way to stay connected to the school itself. And lastly, serving. Um, it is a wonderful school to be in if you want to give back to the community. It is so easy. We have a platform that most of you should be more familiar with now already, with Shine. You go in, you set up all your service hours through there. For connections, you'll have that ability as well, but on your own, you can just connect through there. I decided to do the service day right my first semester, to cover for the 3 hours for connections. And I did the Saturday service day, and I actually worked in Habitat for Humanity at the site location. I had never held a hammer in my life before, and they taught me everything. They were so nice. They were wonderful. And I had a great experience. And I actually got to meet people that I would have never met otherwise, because they were different majors, they were seniors, and it was wonderful. It gave me a little bit of community right during my first week, and it was a great experience. And then another way of serving, I found Feed the Spirit here in Greensburg. It's literally down the hill, where this church provides food, a whole meal every Thursday. And I'm not sure if that will be available because of the whole COVID-19, but we'll definitely find ways to serve in the community. It was just a great way to connect, not only as a student of Seton Hill, which we are very proud of. We wore our Seton Hill t-shirts, so they knew where we're coming from, but it was a great way to connect to the needs of the community. It's not just about being helpful within campus, but it's about what you can give to the community that Seton Hill is part of. So I think that there's great ways of serving, learning, celebrating, and welcoming. And remember, you've already been doing some of them already. As you mentioned on the chat, you have a relationship with serving, so it'll be an easy transition. I just think that this is a great place to be if those things are very important to your heart, as they are to mine. So I thank you for your attention. And now that I have shared my experience, I would like to introduce a video from Nathan Davis, now alumni class of 2020.
Hi everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nathan Davis. I'm a senior Spanish education major at Seton Hill University, and I'm also a 4-year member and captain of the men's basketball team. It's hard to put into words exactly how much Seton Hill has meant to me, not only as a student and as an athlete these past 4 years, but as a person as well. And during this difficult time in which we've all been apart from each other, unable to be together on campus doing the things that we would normally enjoy during the spring semester, I've had a lot of time to kind of reflect back on my learning experience and my journey at Seton Hill over these last 4 years. And I've always come back to the learning pillar of our Seton Hill mission statement. And something that's always kind of stood out to me is the process and the dynamic relationship that professors and students have, especially on this campus. It's something that has made my time, and I know countless others on this campus, their time very, very special. Coming in my freshman year, I was a declared Spanish major, and obviously still am, but at that time, it wasn't because I had extensive background in the language or knowledge or language skills. In fact, I was at the lowest end of the totem pole in regards to that, but I had a desire to continue to grow in the language. If it had not been for the fantastic peers and caring professors that I was blessed with here at Seton Hill University, I can guarantee that I wouldn't have been able to stick through and continue to grow in my language abilities. And this is something that thankfully I'm very happy I can say in the past month or so I've been awarded a Fulbright grant to be an English teaching assistantship in Galicia, Spain. This is something I worked with my professors. The past couple years they said that they saw potential in me. This is something they thought I could do. But if you would have told me in 2016 that this would have been an opportunity to me to go overseas, to travel around the world, and to be surrounded by this language which I've grown in, I would have told you were crazy probably. But this learning aspect of this college has not only broadened my sense in my area of study, but also in all areas of the liberal arts curriculum. I believe that I've become a more informed person, a more caring person, a more empathetic person by everything I've been exposed to at Seton Hill University. So I would just like to say thank you so much to everyone I've come in contact with that has made my learning journey at Seton Hill so very special. And I hope that everyone takes care and stays safe during these uncertain times.
All right, so as we get ready for our time to have some question and answer, we're gonna let everyone take a second, turn on their camera if they'd like to. We can take a group photo, get your smiling faces. I know there was one last week, I forgot to take the group photo and I'm sorry. I got the messages, so we'll make sure we take a big old group photo. If anyone else wants to share their camera, you can go ahead and I'll get us all in frame here. And I will go ahead in 3, 2, smile. There we go. Some people working. Thank you for joining us. All right, and so now we can turn it back to our slides and let Marissa take it away.
Yeah, I think I'll just open it up now if anyone has any questions for any of us on anything we might have covered.
Go ahead and type in the chat any questions that you have. Must have done such a good job, we covered it all. Question about getting more involved with campus ministry.
All right, so we have a variety of ways you can get involved with campus ministry. You heard Father Statnick talk about our masses. We have a Sunday evening mass at 7 p.m. We have daily masses on Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays at different times. We also have something on Thursday night called Contemporary Worship. It's essentially a time to gather around 8:30 at night with friends, and talk about what's going on in your life and what's going on in your faith life, what sort of deep questions you might have in your faith. And there's time for music, and there's some sort of a sing-along time. It's just a great time for community. And in addition to that, we're always looking to see what activities you would like to do. So our office is always open, and we'd love to meet with you and chat about maybe what programs you did in high school, and what programs you'd like to bring here. We have a couple other things I'd mention would be peer ministers. Peer ministers are sort of leaders in campus ministry who help to plan and organize and execute different programs. So if you're interested in being a part of that, if you did something like that when you were in high school, we would most welcome you to be a part of that. Let's see, did I miss anything else? Oh, ice cream social. A big part of our welcoming pillar is we have spaces for you to gather. So we host different events, including an ice cream social, but then also we have a lounge space in between a couple of our offices And it's just a study space for students, and there's always hot beverages, coffee, tea, and cocoa available. We're starting a new program this year where after masses on Sunday evenings, we'll also have sort of cookies and cocoa. We'll have time for socialization. So we love to bring people together and help to build community.
All right, I'm happy to answer the next question from Katerina. I hope I'm saying your name right. I apologize if I'm not. Yeah, so you can certainly find service opportunities during the academic year on Shine. So if you log on to Shine, which must be pros at it at this point, and then all the way on the right, there's a tab that says service, and that is where you can find many of the service opportunities. Also, we do a whole bunch of advertising around campus, whether it's through flyers or emails or on My Shoe. Also, often we'll promote these opportunities on the back of the Vine, which is the weekly bulletin that is at Mass, but there's plenty of different ways. Oftentimes, faculty are helping share these opportunities as well. In addition, during your connections class and over the fall semester, there's a service website that will have everything, that has everything going on it as well. That's just another place for you to kind of learn what else is going on and how else to get more involved in whatever aspect. And then, of course, if there's something that you're interested in that you just can't find or just can't see, you're always welcome to reach out to anyone on the campus ministry and mission and identity staff, but particularly me, at any time. And I'm happy to meet with you virtually to chat about how you can become more involved in service in a multitude of different ways and kind of help find what you're looking for your best fit for service and volunteering. So I hope that answers your question.
I think too, it's important for all of our students to know that the staff of Mission and Identity has an open door policy. Now this year that means you can come in but put your mask on. But anytime you have any questions, you want to talk about something, maybe you just need to vent and talk to someone if you're not having a good day, please know that we're here to help you, to serve you, and to welcome you. So please don't ever hesitate to drop in, even just to say hello. It really has been our pleasure to be with you this evening, and thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. I know Matt's going to tell you now other ways that you can be involved and experience these moments of information. So thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you very soon.
Thank you, sister, and everyone from campus ministry. I trust that today's session was very informative and hopefully will help you understand better our community so that you can become more involved and feel that Setonian spirit. I want to remind you, as we're drawing to the end of July, I know it's a little bit scary, but these are our last remaining sessions for students in particular and families. So tomorrow we'll have Achieving and Maintaining Good Health at Seton Hill. We'll have our Director of Counseling, Disability, and Health Services with us, as well as our nurse practitioner. So they'll be with us tomorrow at 7. Wednesday, we'll have our second trivia night for students. Who's Who at Shoes, so you'll have a chance to win a $25 gift card to the bookstore. Thursday, we'll wrap up with our encore presentation of Welcome Before the Weekend. So if you weren't able to join us on July 11th, it'll be the same presenters. It won't be a recording, it'll be us live again. But Sister Maureen will be back there to present with us, as well as myself. We have over a dozen presenters that will be able to greet you on Thursday, July 23rd. Then next week, we have our second virtual tour of campus. We will have a virtual tour of various campus highlights, so you'll be able to see campus locations. We will not be able to go into specific classrooms, but we'll be able to show you highlights of campus. We will be able to give you classroom tours when you arrive to campus for Welcome Weekend, however. Then For family members, I don't have it on this list here, but on Tuesday and Thursday, if you look on our Road to the Hill website, you'll see that there's an opportunity for our letting go session, helping our family members in that letting go process. And then for students and families, our last session is Wednesday the 29th, acing your academics with our academic enrichment folks. But again, the two that are not listed on this slide are letting go that our Vice President of Student Affairs will hold on Tuesday and Thursday. And then from there, we'll get ready for Welcome Weekend. Hopefully you've all received your emails from Residence Life about move-in. And soon you'll receive an email from me in the upcoming weeks about Welcome Weekend that will start on Friday, August 14th, that will go through the weekend. And that'll be our next steps from there. But if you need anything about virtual orientation or Welcome Weekend, you can reach me at roadtothehill@setonhill.edu. And if you need anything else, you can let us know. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.